Now I'm just interested in it. I like stuff like this, and the fact that us as people are trying to go back to our roots and showing these people really and truly, of really and truly what they used to do for us. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? In the sense of, okay, cool.
So you're saying you're Moorish?
It's very, okay, so I'd more say I'm an aspiring philosopher, yeah?
Alright, so what's your inspiration?
My inspiration is philosophy.
Alright.
Philosophy, the definition of philosophy, the love of knowledge.
Yeah,
right?
philo means love.
So, I love to learn, right? I love to learn the truth, right? But who's to say the truth is the truth without me actually experiencing, going through the fire myself to then know what the truth is. Okay.
Alright, so what is truth? What's truth to you?
Truth to me, that God is real. Truth is also to me is that God talks to you in your conscience, right? A lot of people do not have, or as to say, a lot of people cannot speak to themselves in their head. So if you can't speak to yourself in your head, you can't hear God talk to you. So therefore, a lot of people don't really have souls. I know who, but I'm not pointing fingers. Do you get it? You already know their sides, isn't it? And I'm on the right side, you see it? So, yeah, philosophy, but it is where it is. Right? So I'm studying these things. It's more so the truth, and like what we said, right? Egypt, right? This is an aspect. America is the new Egypt.
There
Right?
we go.
And the blessing thing is we're living in an Aquarian age, right? So that basically means, right? No, but I'm talking about the whole, because I'm studying metaphysics as well as philosophy and all of these other things and astrology. But it's more so to do, right, with timing, mathematics, because life is maths, right? Geometry, right, and numbers. If you calculate everything, you see everything's, that's a whole nother story, right? But I like to know things, so if I need to study these things to know it, I have to study these things to know it, and that's the hard part. The hard part is to be disciplined, and then when God's talking to you, you're like, oh God, please, like, let me look at this chips. Like, no. Focus on the path that I'm directing you. And for me, I respect you, and I respect all you lot, as I said, because you lot are soldiers, really and truly, right? And we live, though we are physical, this is not the world that we, right, live in, really and truly. Because us as black people, really and truly, right, God has blessed us, right, to be a part of Him. These people, they can play along and try to act as if they can sense God, or they can see God, or they had some epiphany or something like that. That's not our business. Again, our business, really and truly, which you guys are doing, is try and open up the sleepy-eyed people, the lazy-eyed people, dash some water in their face. You get me? Like, wake up to the reality that we're living in a world that is physical, but spiritually, there's a battle going on. For real. You get me? Over the simple, minute things. Right? For me, nothing's a coincidence. Right? You guys come in here every day, right? That bell making that noise, right? Police come in here, nothing's a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence at all. So, the saddest thing is that not a lot of people are going to be saved, innit? But at the end of the day, that's not for me to say. All it is for us to recruit. Just try to open up people's minds.
I hear you.
That's it.
So, I'm going to tell you my truth. And my truth will come from this Bible, right? I know the Most High. I'm going to read Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. So, you want to know, like, why we went into slavery.
Why we went into slavery?
You said you're Jamaican, that's so cool. Right?
Yeah, but then I'm also a mixed race black man, so as I said, I'm Jamaican. So I could also be Arawak, I could also be Ghanaian, I could be some Nigerian.
I hear you.
So I'm mixed race black man, same way. That's why I can't my head. I'm a bit cool like you, yes.
Chill.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. It shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
God is saying that if we don't keep his commandments, that curses are going to happen to us as a reward or repercussion for our sins. Sin is going against his commandments, going against his ways. He's our maker. He made us to do this particular thing. They will destroy us.
Of course. Hence why this body doesn't mean anything. And a lot of people need to understand pain is just a feeling, just like love and all of that. So we need to get out of all this self, this physical stuff, and remind ourselves that before we was alive, have you ever thought about that?
Hey.
Do you get it?
Wait,
When you're dead, are you gonna care when you're alive? Are you gonna know how it feels to be alive again? You get it? Because then you're moving on to a different path. You're moving on to more of a spiritual realm there.
Yeah, we're trying to be spiritual. So there's certain the laws of God, they are actually spiritual.
Of course.
You know, when we follow them, we're moving in the spirit of God because He's through His Spirit, He's given us these things to do. So moving in that law, moving in that spirit, it's our willing. You know, to love Him. You know, in action, not just the feeling is important as well. And we're gonna see that when we weren't doing that, that we went and felt these particular curses.
You see that?
No, because you're talking, innit? You're making
But
noise.
they could have overheard me. But I hear you never know. They could have interrupted. I just asked what it's about. Alright, but I wouldn't have done that. So there's curses that would happen to the Israelites. You heard of the Israelites?
Of course.
There's curses that would happen to them, and we want to find out who it happens to today, like who those people are today. Would you say you're an Israelite, by the way?
Israelite, it's very, as I said, there's 12 tribes, right? So what tribe does the Israelites come under?
So we're talking about the 12 tribes from Israel. So Israel has 12 tribes.
Of course. So the whole of the 12 tribes are Israelites.
Right.
That I
12 tribes
didn't
of
know.
Israel.
Okay. Respectfully.
So you've heard of it. You heard about it.
Okay.
But would you call yourself an Israelite? Would you say you're an Israelite?
Would I say? Well, it's like, okay, what is it to be an Israelite?
To be a descendant of a man called Jacob. His name is also known as Israel.
Of the
And you're
original
from that-
people.
No, because everybody comes from Israel.
Not everyone. Not,
Yes,
no,
they do.
No.
Yes,
Not everyone. Not
yes, they
everyone.
do. And that's the thing. You can't let your hatred.
It's not hatred. It's not hatred at all.
It is.
It's not
You
hatred.
can't let your hatred cloud you.
It's not
from
hatred.
the
Trust me.
understanding that.
Because even
Because
blood
you said
type.
you like maths.
Yeah,
So
even
if
blood
you
type as well itself is a fact.
You said you like maths. So when you look at like a family tree, everyone on the earth is gonna like do a pyramid shape back onto a common ancestor or descendant. And we are those descendants. And you're gonna find that everyone on the earth has a common ancestor. We all go back to somebody.
That's
so
true.
therefore we're technically all descendants of the original people. Right? Because what you're then saying that other people, that they're descendants of fish,
See that?
descendants of monkeys.
Bro, that's what the
It may look
that's
like-
what the scientists say.
But we don't.
That's what the scientists say. We're part, well, not us, but they're part chicken and they got pork in them and all of that. This is a fact. This is a fact. They got that in their genetics, not me.
See that?
I ain't got that in my genetics. I know that for free.
Make sure it's pork.
Not me though, but that's what they say. Yeah, they come from them and
Start waking up at 6 a.m. and making
blood and
meds.
all of them.
See that?
That's not me. That's coming out their own mouth. So if it's coming out their own mouth, you need to listen to what they're saying. You get it? If someone's saying I'm a liar,
Hey.
you need to listen to what they're saying.
Alright.
You get it? So me and them are not the same. So them people that claim that, you get it? Those are not humans. And I just have to accept that part. You get it?
Look, like, we're all, unfortunately, as strange as it may sound, we do descend from a common ancestor to this guy. Which is weird.
He comes from us.
You can say that. You can say that. But if he comes from us, then we obviously have the same ancestor.
If you want to be technical like that,
Right.
but then I can also
Okay.
What do you say?
Specify.
People do that. It's a tricky word.
Through that, is it?
People slip with the tongue. It's not our original language. I ain't gonna hold you to that.
Too as well.
Don't worry about it. So yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I can't accept, right? Which I know over my truth, my studies, right? Which I respect the Bible same way. Do you get it? But from my truth, what I know, right? Them and us is not the same.
I agree with you. But like you said, they came from us, and we're gonna see in the Bible it tells you that. It doesn't mean we don't have a common ancestor. What it means is we were split.
Of course, from
Right.
genes, yeah.
Righteously and unrighteously.
Wherever they say they come from the mountains or wherever they
Yeah, man, they do. It's very dumb.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb,
Nation. There's one nation and another nation in this woman's womb. Her name is Rebecca, who's our mother. You know?
and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
And they're 2 manner of people, right? So I mean they're 2 different opposites, man. Like Neo and Agent Smith, man. Right? They kind of serve a purpose on the earth. We serve a purpose of righteousness, to be a light upon the world. They're the darkness of the world. Just read on.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Right? So the elder shall serve the younger, meaning the elder, which is them, because we were once twins in the elder. The elder is the one that came out first. Why? Verse 22.
Genesis 25:22. And the children struggled together within her.
They were struggling together. What does that mean? They were beefing each other. Like, we were actually fighting white people in the womb, punching them up.
That's right.
So when that labor was introduced and that womb was open, they wanted to get out of it. So that's why they kind of came out first.
So was Rebecca mixed race then?
No.
Genetic mutation.
Oh, so it's a genetic mutation from them.
Yeah. So one of us and one of them in the womb.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
Because we was uppercut, like, look at. See that the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor.
So we helped push them out quicker.
Yeah, they wanted to get out.
We needed space to stretch and grow.
Right. So they came out first. So they'll be the elder and we'll be the younger. The elder shall serve the younger. They're meant to be servants. So we agree, we're 2 manner of people, different, separated from each other. They're meant to be servants. Right now, we're serving them for a portion of time. That's a
Sorry to cut
punishment.
you, but I don't think you should say we're serving them.
It's
Because that's
reality.
really power. Because remember, words is a spell. And for you to say that too, that's you confirming that they're over you. So I'm going to say,
Right now we are.
I'm sovereign.
Alright, so when you get close,
Get my clothes from. These ain't mine. Yeah, I borrowed them. Facts. I'm good.
so you don't have to work.
I work for myself, yeah.
What do you do?
Crypto mining. What I'm going to do is press a little button and make money. That's it. Job done for the day.
Alright, and who makes that currency?
He makes that currency. Well, man from Sweden or Switzerland, wherever.
Alright, is he a white man?
He's a white man.
So you're serving a white man.
If you want to put it that way. No, it's true. No, I agree with you. But if yes, that's true. I'm not making excuses, but in the sense of the matrix of a 9 to 5, I'm out of that. Because I don't have to do a laborious job and hurt my back.
Still gotta pay the taxes.
That too.
That's right.
Which is unfortunate because now crypto is centralized and it used to be decentralized. So you can't run away from the tax man. I agree with that. But guess what though? I can also use what do you call it, government assistance, right? Go uni. Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, there's ways, you get me? but there's just ways and right ways to do things. That's all I gotta say.
Alright, so coming back. So you wouldn't say you're an Israelite as such. You just say you're an original man. But we see that we already established
I would say-
we all descend from the original man.
I would say yes. If Israelite means the original man, then correct. Yes, I am an Israelite. Yes.
But that's not what it means. So Israel, you know, is we're going back 4,000 years. Really. You know, he's a man that was born around that time, and he is our ancestor, our father, meaning we descend from him. Something special that happened to him, he was blessed, and that blessing for him to
Family tree.
right, and we're descended from him. We're those blessed people. When we sin, we be cursed.
Didn't God also bless the other brother too? That the brother was meant to get the blessing from the beginning.
Yes. And his blessing is that he's going to have this time where he's going to be able to reign. This is his blessing. He's able to be in Australia and America and Russia and South Africa and Iceland, everywhere. He's everywhere. That's his blessing. So he's living that right now until we repent. That's what it works.
Customers of the Aquarian age, which the realm that we live in now,
We're not
right?
dealing with
They're controlling this like now, right? But later on, as the book prophesies, yeah, we'll win back. But us is more of a spiritual type of thing, right? Into the next age that we live in, right? It's more going to be of a spiritual battle, which we thrive on, because we're more inclined to be more in touch with God. That's from the studies. Unless you want to say both of us we're gonna fight to the death and something's gonna happen. Yeah, please.
So, do you eat pork?
You don't eat pork.
Shellfish?
I don't really like that. Do you know what? In them dire situations.
Die, what is this?
Surah.
Huh?
Surah again.
No, but come on. As people, we don't know if man is even eating, and the only thing left there is food that you don't want to eat. And they force that upon you, so you're like, I'd rather starve. It's correct. Yeah, that's some real nigga shit right there.
Yeah,
So it's like,
we are the so-called river.
cool. So I eat that, and I'm sick same way. So I already, but then that's the only thing I can eat. That's the thing. There's no option.
Yeah, but the most high you provide.
It's the same thing though with our people. And they give us pigtail and whatever and carcasses, right? We never had an option to eat that, but we had to eat it to survive.
Yeah, now we know better.
Of course.
Let's eat it.
I'm just talking about my.
Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
House of who?
House of Israel.
Right, not original man, right? Not one of that doctrine, right, that comes from YouTube.
Moor School of Science.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Don't learn the way of the heathen. So there's ways of the heathen. We have to make sure we're going back to our culture. If we just learn the ways of the original man or the melanated man or the Moors, we're going to start adopting things that's of the heathen. The Moors, they learn the ways of the heathen. That's why we went into slavery.
We used to say the word. We used to say that's heathenism.
Because the Moors adopted Islam.
Not really.
Not really. What do you mean not really?
Not really.
So they didn't or they did?
I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying they didn't.
Why is everyone doing this today? Everyone's just I'm always
No,
wrong
I'm not.
today, but
I'm
no one
talking
ever
about myself. I can't say they did or didn't. That I'd like to look into. But you do have a point there, right?
The Moors are well known
Let's put that
for establishing Islam, for adopting Islam to the point where some scholars will even say that it means Muslim. That's really
There
not.
you go then.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. So there's things in the sky which are the signs of heaven. The sun, you worship the sun.
Of course, that's what I'm out today.
Huh?
The Lord said, don't go to the ways of the heathen with Israelites. You shouldn't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. So if you see the sun, you should be worshipping. right? You shouldn't be kind of bow down to it and give your energy onto it, submitting to the sun.
Vitamin
Who
D.
does the sun submit to? That's what you want to find out.
What do you mean?
That
Is it submitting to the sun? I said I'm enjoying the sun.
That's if you worship the sun.
No, they were like bow down. No.
I mean, you can spiritually bow down.
I say obviously if it's a sunny day, oh thank you God, like obviously it's a sunny day.
Right. But so the sun, the moon, and the stars, you know, you don't want to align yourself. To worship is kind of you're aligning yourself to what it's doing. So you're saying the sun is out. So you know, you got some people they kind of look into the sun and they try and get energy from the sun. Right? They do that type of stuff that we do.
Okay, so you see that's witchcraft.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? And there's
But why?
people that go into other signs of the heaven or stars. So the stars, right, they be lights in the firmament of the sky. But other nations, they see that, right? And Jeremiah is speaking about the Babylonians who are heavy on that, and that's why we have it to this day, because of how heavy the Babylonians are in astrology. And they will go into the signs of the heaven, the sun, and the moon, and the stars, and they would align their lives according to the stars.
Which was also created by God as well.
Exactly, created by God for a particular purpose.
Right.
And that purpose wasn't for us to follow, because when you follow that, you stop following the Most High. It's either one or the other. You can't have two masters.
This is what I'm saying. But for me, it's the study of knowledge, right? With knowledge, right, it can go both
Weariness of the
ways.
flesh.
Just like the same thing with masonry and all of them other things there. Or just like with money, I should say. Right? If you have enough money, you can use it to help people. If not, you can use it to be destructive and invest into someone that can create weapons and kill people. So it all depends on the person and what they do with the knowledge the same way. The Bible as well, it could also be a blessing and a curse same way, not in a negative way, but in the sense of you could use that same way to manipulate people and tell people wrong. So this is it all comes down to self as well, and obviously other people also having that second thought to themselves or first thought from God to know what they say is coming from that communicating wise is facts.
So we're going to go into these curses that would happen to the Israelites. You don't smoke, do you?
I don't smoke cigarettes, no, and I'm not really much of a weed smoker myself. I used to be an athlete, but it is what it is.
Let's go to verse 29.
Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind grope in darkness.
And that's what we've been doing, because we've been in darkness. We're groping, you know, trying to grab anything around you. So any type of doctrine, our people, when they're in like situations that might be in a near-death experience, life might be hitting you because you're an Israelite and just life just hits you thick and fast. You start groping at things, like anything, any hand that reaches down, you kind of grab it and lean to it for help. That's why you grope at noonday as a blind grope in darkness. That's what happens to our people. That we grab at different things that we shouldn't really be grabbing onto. That's not our culture. Not our what we should be doing. Should be following.
That's true.
And that's like Christianity as well. That's not what we should be following. That was us in the time of slavery. That white hand of Christianity was reached down, and us being in darkness spiritually, in blindness, we just grabbed that hand and we helped ourselves up. And we think that was a righteous hand that was helping us up, already it's not. Likewise, Islam, Moors, Egyptology, all of these things are hands that were put to help us in our blindness that we follow. That's not what we're meant to be doing. That's freedom.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
None of these things we've actually prospered as a people. In Christianity, we haven't prospered as a people. Right? People are down broke in the church, and at the end of the day, as a nation, we're not building ourselves up. Right? Let's read on.
And thou shalt be spoiled evermore. I'm sorry, Salakia. And thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore.
Who's that? That's us. We're the people that's being oppressed and spoiled. You know, in the nations we're from, in the lands we're from, we're being oppressed, we're being spoiled. They're taking our resources. Alright? Let's
And
read.
no man shall.
Let's read verse 41. So he said, you know, your forefathers will be so-called Jamaicans. And we're going to read about the Jamaicans all throughout this, because these things are curses that would happen to the Israelites, but you can see them all happening to the Jamaicans as well.
and man shall save thee. 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, and thou shalt not enjoy them, or they shall go into captivity.
The Israelites, the Jamaicans, they went into captivity. Right? Let's read verse 68.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The Israelites, they were slaves in Egypt. The Lord said you're going to go into slavery again with ships. And who went to slavery with ships? Us. Nobody else. So if we're the people that went into slavery and ships, nobody else, and this is God speaking about the Israelites, then we must know that we must be the Israelites. Let's read on this word.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see her no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
Right. So bondmen and bondwomen means slave and a slave woman. That's what you see here. That's being sold as slave and a slave woman. That's what happened to us. But God is speaking to the Israelites. So what does that make us?
Does that make us slaves?
What do you call us?
God called us.
Call us Israelites. So we wouldn't just be slaves if God gave us a name as Israelites. So we can't be a Moor, as you say. Would you like to retract that? We're not Moors, we're Israelites.
I could say I'm an Israelite. I could say a lot. But what matters most, right, is God directing me, and God directing us as people on a righteous path to benefit the community. That's the space. For me, religion is one thing. Is this religion? That's what do you know what I mean? But this is one thing that is a foundation that we as people can be strong on. The next step really and truly is finance, and then the step after that is taking back our culture. Really and truly. So as I said, like, for me, I respect everything here. And I respect the fact that mind-wise as well, you're tapped in. You know what I mean?
So right as of now, what do you do?
Would I call myself? I could say that I'm an Israelite.
Good.
But then I could also stick to the fact to say that I'm a philosopher too. Because you're teaching me something. Okay. So that way, I'm still learning. So
What you're saying is basically you're a Greek.
I'm Greek. No.
Alpha Kappa
Hey,
Sigma.
no. That ain't Greek, bro. That ain't Greek. No,
Because that's the ways of the Greeks.
I'm not Greek at all.
Because what is, like I said, what is philosophy?
Right, the
Let's go to
love of
Deuteronomy
knowledge,
chapter
right?
6, verse 5.
But Greeks, they same learn from the Egyptians anyway.
Okay, exactly.
So it still falls back down to us.
We're not Egyptians.
But then we came from Egypt, right?
We was in there, but we're not those people that was oppressing us.
So who were the Egyptians then?
The Egyptians would be the so-called today, they'll be South Sudanese,
Okay, that makes
Lanky.
sense. That makes sense.
nasty tribes.
That makes
Deuteronomy 6 verse 5. And thou shalt love the Lord with all thy Salakia. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God.
I love wisdom.
Thou shalt-
Thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might.
So that's what you have to do. You can't I just love wisdom. I just love any.
I apply it every day.
Huh?
I apply it every day, bro. Trust me. I apply it every day.
Like what?
My wisdom.
I'm saying you can't just love wisdom.
Oh, use
right?
it practically as
Because
well.
not all wisdom is of the Most High,
That's true.
right? Wisdom is right.
That's true.
You've got wisdom that's of the world.
That's true
And
as
there's a
well.
difference between the wisdom we're speaking and the wisdom that's of the world. So you want to separate. Do you love God or do you love wisdom? You can't just be a philosopher. Right? Philo meaning you don't want to be a philo anything. You don't want to be a file. You don't want to attach file to yourself.
That's right.
Right?
See that?
That's not the type of, you don't want to be a Greek. You don't want to live that lifestyle. Oh yeah, I'm a philo. Don't be a philo.
I'm actually
You don't
alright
wanna feel
with
anything.
abstaining from feelings like that anyway, okay? Because at the same time, that's another story.
I'm
Yeah.
philo, the prefix philo, means to love. That's where you get pedophilia from.
See that?
Necrophilia.
Okay, I see.
Like these things. Because pedophilia, they just say they love children. Right? That's what they say. You don't want to be a philo nothing. Right? No,
I respect that. I respect that.
Right? So don't call yourself a philosopher.
I respect that one.
Right?
I respect that one.
Sophie means wisdom, knowledge. So philo, Sophie, that's the love of wisdom. Yo, that's Greek. It's a Greek term.
I see where you're coming from
Right.
with the words.
Yes.
So then what is the actual definition that I need to say in order for the power to actually work?
Genesis 32 verse 2. So
Dictionary that.
we have to understand what does it mean to be an Israelite. Because you want something with power. You want something that actually has meaning. You're thinking maybe Israelite. I don't even know. What does that even mean?
No, I've done, when I was younger, like, when I was in my teens.
What do you say it means?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay,
I'm saying I used to watch lectures.
Right. So this is what actually, because you wanna feel that royalty, right? You are royalty.
We are royalty.
Exactly, but you want to know that God is even actually. It's easy saying it because anyone can say it. That's why white people they make jokes to say that the wheat was kings and that they kind of make jokes about it. But we want to actually. Hey, they do that, man. They do that online.
Online, that's another lie.
Yeah. But they're doing that in the pub right now. They're doing it over there.
They're over here though.
They're saying, look at those guys over there.
Over here, I'll tell you that for free.
They're laughing at us in the pubs. They got pub jokes that they make about
black people.
black people.
Over there.
See that?
Right? They're laughing in the pub, man, and happy.
They're saved over white.
So we are actually, as an Israelite, it means you are royal. And anybody who's not an Israelite is under us. So that's why it's important to know who the Israelites are. Because if you're not an Israelite and you're just a lover of wisdom, you're just a philosopher.
Respect that.
If you're just a philosopher guy, I just love wisdom. You're not an Israelite, you down there then.
Fair enough. But I'm more of a knowledgeable man.
It's Genesis chapter 32,
You want to be with that?
verse 28.
That's how you want to be. That big David. I bet he loves wisdom too.
And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob,
No more philosopher, right? Or you say inspired philosopher. No more, none of that.
Or more.
but Israel.
But Israel. And we're going to see why.
For as a prince hast thou For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men.
Read that again. For as a what?
For as a prince.
For as a what?
For as a prince.
For as a prince, you be royalty. Why are you a prince? Because we have a king. Who's that king? The Heavenly Father. Right? So we're his sons, meaning we be the prince. Right? We're the princes of this world.
And what's your name?
Zachariah.
What's the meaning of that?
It means the Most High remembers. God remembers.
Is it?
But I'll be an Israelite. It's really my name.
For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed.
So we're the only people who have power with God and with men. We're the only people that, when it comes to praying, the Most High is really going to listen to us. We're the only people that when we have power with God. So if we're keeping His commandments, keeping His ways, He'll defend us. There's no other people that He'll do that to.
100%.
You know, I agree with that. Being a Christian is not going to protect you from missiles. Being a Moor, loving wisdom, that's not going to protect you from World War III. Guess what? If you keep God's commandments, then you'll be protected. Right? These nations, they put these little domes, they got all the military
When it
and all
comes
of
to
this
war,
stuff.
bro, I'm not afraid to die. That's not an issue for me. Second of all, my background, I'm ex-soldier too, so yeah, I ain't afraid. I got my ID on me right now, so I'm 31. But all of that stuff, man, I ain't stressed about that.
That's good.
For me,
We're not favorite.
the community, though, this is what it is.
That's what we get. It's what we get. We want to establish. First thing we need to establish the community. It's what Exodus 19 verse 5. We're princes, and now we're all princes. We're all royalty. So because of that, we know that we're royalty. We have to make sure that we walk under the example for everybody else. And that we're doing that which is righteous according to the Most High.
It's Exodus 19 and verse 5, and it reads, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice,
If ye would obey my voice,
indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people,
Above all people.
for all the earth is mine.
So they say to the Israelites, if they do the commandments, they'll be above all people. Let's get verse 16.
Verse 6, it reads, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests.
A kingdom of priests.
Kingdom of priests, man. Like all of us, right? We should be a kingdom of priests. We should be a priest and a king at the same time, and a king
I
reigning
agree
over
with
the
that.
nations.
I agree with that.
Reigning
100%.
over the white man, reigning over Khadijah, these nations.
I agree with that 100%.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
Yeah, that's what we have to speak to let you know
100%. I
that if
agree
you
with
keep
that.
God's commandments, then you'll be above the people, then you'll be the royalty that God has established here today.
100%.
Right, so, read down to the front.
100%.
So it's probably
So now you know who you are. It's all good just knowing who you are, but there's an importance of knowing how you're supposed to live, right? Because I could say like, oh, okay, for example, someone could say that they're Ghanaian. There's certain things that a Ghanaian does. There's certain things he eats. There's certain things he doesn't eat. Certain things he'll wear. Certain things he wouldn't wear. There's a certain culture or tradition that is attached to your name and who you are that is very important to understand, because that's what I said, it's all well and good knowing who you are, but knowing how to live, that's the most important thing. And as the brother read earlier, the curses that are happening to us is because we didn't keep the commandments. Because God told us that we were supposed to do something and we didn't do it, we were punished in these ways. This is our punishment. If at home, if you do something and your dad, he doesn't like what you're doing, he's going to hit you, he's going to do something. And God, he deals with us as a nation and individuals as well. Let's get that, Job 34 verse 29. Because God can punish us as individuals, we can get punished as individuals, but he also deals with us as nations as well. And because as a nation, we didn't keep his commandments, because as a nation, we didn't obey him, and we didn't actually listen and hearken to what he said, we were punished for that reason.
So there's 12 nations, correct?
So there's 18 nations in the Bible, but there's 12 tribes. So there's the nations, there's the Ammonites, there's the main Israelites, there's different other nations in the Bible, but God's only dealing with one nation.
The main one.
Let's go further. Let's
The
go
main
further.
one.
The main one. He's
The
chosen.
main one is us.
Exactly.
End of story.
Because at the same time, we all have favorite things. Like you have your favorite shoes, your jeans, earrings,
Favorite
whatever.
crypto.
And God, because we were made in His image, God has His favorites as well. God has His favorite people, and for His favorite people, there's certain things that we have to do. Listen.
Respect to that.
This is Job 34, verse 29.
Yeah.
When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold it? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only.
So it can be done against a nation or a man only. So in this instance, it's done against a nation, our nation. Let's read that. Amos 3 and verse 1. Because it's important to understand that, because the Lord, having us as His chosen people, it means that out of everyone, He's going to punish us for what we've done. For example, you're not going to punish any random youth that comes into your house because he didn't listen to what you said. That's not your son. That's not your youth. That's not your child. But whereas your child, if he does something in your house, you're going to do something to him. Do you get what I'm saying? You're not going to thump up some necks. That's not yours. Do you know what I mean? And that's the same thing with the Heavenly Father. He's not punishing anyone else.
So you're saying to me, now these
Focus on our people. Let's get someone.
I'll do that anyway to them.
Yeah,
Zechariah.
Amos 3
Actually,
and 1.
Lucky, get that first.
Zechariah.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather you together, O nation not desired.
We're the nation that are not desired. So we're supposed to gather each other. We're supposed to be with each other. All this mixing and matching we're doing.
I disagree with that 100%.
See that?
And it just brings confusion. On every sense. Like, for example, if someone get 1 Kings 11 verse 2, because even when it comes to marriages,
Say
right?
no to coconuts.
No, but this is not like there's a
Going off.
and there's a reason There's a big reason for that, because what it does is that it ends up corrupting us. Do you know what I mean? When we're with our own people and when we're with together with like-minded people, even in on a
Intimidating.
that's saying, even on a generic sense, right? You don't want like people that have the same kind of mindset and the same kind of attitudes. They should always be together. The Lord has always dealt with division. I give you
Amos 3:1.
read that first, and I'll go explain.
First Kings
Yeah.
Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up under the land of Egypt, saying, only have I known the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you with all your iniquities.
All the families on the earth, every other people, only is us. So therefore he's going to punish us for our iniquities. That's what I was saying earlier. But now in terms of like mixing and matching, you've got that First Kings 11 verse 2.
First Kings 11.
Verse 2.
First Kings 11. This is the book of First Kings chapter 11 and verse 2, and it reads, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love.
So that's why it's important for us to be with each other, so that we can learn from each other, so that we can grow from each other. I'm sure you've heard iron of sharpened iron, right? Something that's blunt and something that they're not gonna, no one's gonna profit in that. So we both have to be with each other so that we can grow ourselves. Because even they said that they're gonna sway you and they're gonna make you go into other things. That's why, like, a lot with our people especially, we're the people that love going into chematology or love getting into learning just different stuff, whether it's like astrology, whatever you say, astrology, whatever. We love getting into these things. Out of everyone else, it's us, because we're the people where everyone wants to come and be with us. Everyone wants to come and plague us because they know how special we are.
Right.
If you know something's really special, first of all, you want to keep that safe. You want to keep that hidden. That's the same thing with us. We need to keep ourselves together. We shouldn't be corrupted.
that 100%.
I'm saying we shouldn't be corrupted by the ideas and the other people's ways of life, because what's going to end up corrupting us. Now, with saying that, you know, the only way we're actually able to actually sharpen each other up when we have gathered together is if we're ourselves being obedient to God. Because if we're not being obedient to God, then we're not living under the laws that He's established. If we're not living under the laws that He's established, we're being wayward. Someone gets 2nd Ezra 7 and verse 20.
Keep it real to you.
Of course.
There's a lot of weak-minded people, hence why we're losing.
100%. 100%. And the thing about weak-minded people, right? They have a very, very similar trait. They're never actually subservient to something that's higher than them. That's right. The reason why I say this is because someone that is strong, or someone that is strong-willed, that has a strong mind, are always subservient, or always a servant to something that's higher than them, that has given them the strength to do that. That's where the strength comes from. Strength doesn't come from ourselves, because from our own hearts, our hearts are deceitful. Our hearts are going to tell us to do this and do that. That's why you see someone that has a weak mind, they're always trying to do different things. They never focus on doing one thing, because whatever they see, they just run to. But if you have that strong foundation and that strong mind in keeping a law and an ordinance that God has given you, then that's going to build your mindset, and that's going to benefit everyone else that's around you. 2nd Ezra 7 and verse 20.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 20, and it reads, for there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of God that is set before them.
That's the reason why people are perishing, because they actually genuinely, it's not even a thing where some people don't know, fine, but some people actually hate ordinance. Some people hate order. Some people hate law. Some people hate being under something that is higher than them. Some people hate instruction. Out of people, out of everyone else, they hate instruction. They don't like being told what to do. If you tell them to do something, they're going to try and find another way to do what they want to do, or want to follow their own hearts. Our people actually hate
On the spiritual sense.
spiritual and physical. No, spiritual, because at the same time, look, people, like, even if, for example, if I told you, not you specifically, look, you know what, don't walk down there. I've seen a couple men do some booty stuff, don't go there. First of all, you're going to think, right, actually, you know what, you're going to see what these men are doing. By nature, we always want to do what we want to do, do you know what I mean? So it's extremely important that, first of all, we understand that the reason why a lot of people are perishing is because they're not adhering to the laws. They're not adhering to the ordinances. Keep reading.
2 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 21. For God hath given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment.
So God has given us a straight commandment, not a thing where it's like, you know, it's kind of trying to meander around it to find like little loopholes and let me study this more and try and actually understand the deeper meaning or no, there's principles. The law is come to bring principles, so we should actually do what it says, but it's just the principle behind it. No, the commandments is very straight. Do not eat pork, don't eat shellfish or lobster, you know, wear your fringes, keep the Sabbath day. These things are very straight and they're very, you know, they're not, there's no loopholes around it. So you get what I'm saying?
Fringes.
Sorry, fringes. These are fringes. I'll get onto that a bit later.
Verse 22. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things.
So then we're not even obedient. We're imagining just vain things. We're getting into things that are not even going to profit us personally and as a people, into the weird philosophies, into precepts of men, meaning like, you know, things that guys have taught men or men have taught us that sounds cool or that sounds kind of, you know, I want to get into that. That's a bit different, or you know, that, like, you know, something that sounds interesting. But the reason, because they're not keeping that ordinance, because you're not living by the laws, you're going to go into these things.
Verse 23. And deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways.
So and then honestly, they what they do, they will just deceive themselves. They're only deceiving themselves. You know, if you're going into things where, you know, it just sounds cool, it's different, you're only deceiving yourself. You're not deceiving anyone else. You know, and even goes on to say, what was the last one? Sorry?
The Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways.
And then they will say, because of that, you know, I just didn't know. Whereas we're here teaching you now, you know, the right things. We're here teaching you the ordinances. We're teaching you the laws and the commandments. But then, if you were to go away and then just go and imagine vain things, then it comes to the day of judgment and you get judged for it, you be like, oh, right, I didn't know. But, I didn't know. But that was because, you know, you didn't want to actually hearken onto the words that were said. You didn't actually go deeper, or what it said in Acts 17 and verse 11. You get that? You know, you don't have to get it. But, you know, to actually daily, you know, search out the matter, search out the things that were said. Because it's very easy for me just to tell you these things. Because honestly, I'm not here to tell you something that may sound nice, or it's a bit different, or it's cool. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying, like, I'm not here to like be like a entertainment, or someone come and video. This guy's woke. He's woke. I'm not here to be woke. I'm not a woke man. I'm literally here on a purpose of trying to teach my people, one, why we're in the situation that we're in and how to get out of it. Very two simple things. Very, very simple. Now I've told you, let's actually understand now how we're meant to live. Someone get Deuteronomy 10 and verse 12.
This book of Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12.
Deuteronomy 10 verse 12. And now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee?
So now, God requires something from us. You know, it's all well and good knowing first of all that we have a God, knowing who we are, knowing who God has called us, but it's an actual requirement. Yes.
But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
That's important. You have to serve the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul.
13. To keep the commandments of the Lord.
To do what?
To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day, for thy good.
For thy good. Our good is not in vain philosophies. It's not in learning about this, not in Egyptology. It's about doing the commandments, because we have a duty. Someone get that in the Ecclesiastes.
This is the book
because we have a duty to fulfill on this earth. Everyone, like, we're not dutiless. People, we walk around as if we actually haven't got a duty. Or we're just walking around as if we're just kind of just living life or just doing what we want to do. We actually have a duty to fulfill on this earth.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13.
Okay, I know.
That is here the conclusion of the matter.
So this is the conclusion of the matter. This is the this is what it is now, yeah? everything everyone's learned, this is what it is. Right?
Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
So it comes down to fearing God and keeping His commandments. As I said, this is the whole duty of man. Everything else you feel like you want to do. Everything else you feel like, oh, I need to do this. What we need to do is just to keep read it again. Actually.
Let's say the conclusion of the matter: fear God and keep His commandments. For this is the whole duty of man.
Is to keep the commandments. That's the whole duty. That's our duty. Is to actually first of all learn the commandments and keep them. And I believe the commandments isn't something that is like it's not straightforward in terms of you could just someone's gonna tell you walk down the street. Someone's gonna tell you actually you know what, brother? If let me give you like if someone owes you bread, yeah, kind of after the 7 years you can't owe you bread anymore. No one's gonna just come and tell you that, but that's a commandment. That's actually a commandment in the Bible. Or someone saying, no, bro, I can't lie. Like, you see the interest? Like, if I owe you bread, if I give you money, and like when you pay me back, it's not an interest thing because it's actually in the commandments. No one's gonna come and tell you that. They're actually gonna say, you know what? Like, I violated last time. 20 pounds. So this time, I'm adding 50 pounds. You violated last time. Do you know what I mean? So it's not something that is free because you know they say things. If you want to hide something from a black man, why don't you put it in a book? Because we know we don't read. We like to do other things. You know what I mean? So to find the commandments, and this is the really important thing to first of all find it, so that you can keep your soul. Because as it said there, that's the whole duty of man. So let's go through some. I've already told you 2 of them. But let me give you, obviously you said you already don't eat pork, right? Let me tell you about the fringes. Let's go to Numbers 15 and verse 38.
The hardest thing is that this is all like spiritual.
Yes.
Very, very, very spiritual. But then at the same time, being disciplined and keeping that consistency. Not for me, but I'd say for a lot of other people. And I think that's the sad thing about us. I wouldn't say us, as a collective, but our people that they do try, but they give up. They don't have that. I don't know. Maybe just by themselves.
I'll be behind like 4 friends.
Step in the group, then we know we're going to get attacked spiritually by the other side. And that happens on a daily basis. And I think that's why people are more tentative. You know what? Let me submit and give in to the darkness than to fight it and keep fighting.
And you're very right, because as a people, we like to chase things that are more physical than spiritual, as I said. Things that we can get instant gratification from. And that's where the weakness comes from. Anything we can just see, because we rather just see something, it looks cool, we always want a sign. It says the Jews love a sign. They need a sign. So we're always people that need to see something and get instant gratification. If it's a thing where we need to sell something quick or do this and stuff. But we're never people that are long suffering, and that's actually one of the fruits of the Spirit.
Galatians chapter 5 verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
So these are the fruits of the Spirit. So these are the things, the spiritual things that we should have. But that spiritual thing, as I said earlier, comes from this. Read that.
Romans 7 and 14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin.
So the act of keeping the law, so the laws are actually a spiritual thing. Although, as you said, it requires discipline on a physical level. Like it requires you to physically buy fringes. It requires you to physically maybe go out on a Friday to make sure you buy everything you need before the Sabbath. It requires physical action to keep the law, but in doing that, there's a very spiritual thing that comes from it. You know what I'm saying? But that physical consistency and that physical discipline that requires strength. That strength comes from the Lord, because that strength that we need to do those things, it all comes from the Lord. When the Lord sees that you are actively trying to actually keep His command and do something, He's not going to just leave you there with your zero efforts to do it. He's going to give you the strength to do it, because that's what He's called you to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not a thing whereby it's all by your own strength. It's like because it can feel heavy at times, but at the same time, as it says, I think it's in Matthew 7 about our burdens. The burdens are supposed to be put on to the Lord anyway. So that strength that you need to do those physical acts to keep the law, which is spiritual, it comes from the Lord. So Let me show you actually. Did I read Numbers?
I guess I'm on target now for these people. Hey.
Numbers 15 and 38. Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
So this is what it is here. So we've got the fringes here. So these are, and as it said later, I put a ribbon of blue. So you can see all of us have the fringes and then a ribbon of blue. Can you read it?
And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye use to go warring.
So this is not a fashion thing. This is not because it looks cool. We're trying to do something different. Well, it's not catching on, but guys are just trying to force it. That's what I'm saying. But at the same time, it explains why we do it, so that we look upon it. This is something you're supposed to look upon to remind yourself of the laws, of the commandments. Because if living in this world, it's easy to kind of look at something else and your mind is just going somewhere.
Because we live in a metaphysical world, which is another word for spiritual.
Yes, exactly. And everything you see around you, there's with girls with their wearing or things, everything you see around you is forcing you to go. That's what I'm saying. Like even looking at a chicken shop on a Sabbath day, that's even gonna try and take you off because you're gonna think, you know, actually let's go for a fantastic.
Poison, basically. That's
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So that's why we're supposed to look upon this to remind us of the commandments and remind us of what we actually have to do in our duty. Do you know what I mean? Because you know, if you're in a war, right, and then there's a soldier, you know, he's gonna look at his thing and bro, I'm actually in a war. You know, he's gonna deep the fact that he's in a war. He's not gonna forget that he's in a war because it's what he's wearing. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not gonna forget that he's got a sword in his. Bro, I've got a sword in my hand. Bro, he's not going to forget what he's doing. That's the same thing with this. You know, we're in a war every day, so we have to look upon this to remind ourselves the first time we're in a war. That's what we actually have to do. You know what I'm saying? Why is he him? Why is he there? Because we're showing you that is not the true representation of Jesus Christ. That's not the true representation of Jesus Christ. That's true. So what do you think Jesus is? Oh, like you? Oh, sorry. I didn't understand. Yes, you're right. You know, and the Bible says that. And the Bible tells you that. That's true. As in terms of, yes, you look like us. It says that in the Bible. Let's go to Revelation 1 verse 20. Because and let's look at Job 9 verse 24 as well. Because that's something that they tried to hide from us. They tried to cover his face. They tried to make us believe that this guy here is the true representation of Jesus Christ. So that when we're praying to him, what we're doing is that self-consciously what it does to our mind is that makes the white man God. So everywhere we go, I'm from Ghana, right? When you go to Ghana, you see a white man walking in the street of Ghana, everyone is kind of like, oh, already they have that kind of, you know what I mean? They have that kind of mindset where, oh, this guy is above us. Because every day they go home and they see this on their cabin, and this is what they're praying to. That's what it's going to do to you. You got that? Let me get that first.
Job chapter 9 verse 24.
Yeah.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So already know that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right?
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
So that's what they've done here. They covered his face. So they wiped away this true representation or image of Jesus, and they gave us this so that we serve them. Let's read that.
Revelation
from verse 1.
Revelation 1, chapter 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show him and his servants, unto his servants, things which must be shortly come to pass.
So this is going to show you the true representation and what Christ actually looked like on a physical level. Let's jump to
14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Now, as you see here, his head and his hairs were white like wool. Keep reading.
Okay. As white as snow.
Yeah.
And his eyes a flame of fire.
Does that look like eyes of flaming fire? That looks like puppy eyes to me.
Right.
That doesn't look like my God. That doesn't look like a God that's gonna come and slay and kill many people. Yeah. This looks like a God that's gonna come down and do some. Actually, I'm not. Keep reading.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace.
It says his feet like unto fine brass, as if it burnt in a furnace. That's a representation of how dark he was. Christ was. That's right, exactly. But it even goes on to say, as if it burnt in a furnace, so it shows how dark he was. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to give us this as a God because they really want us to be on that lower.
I think some of these, most of these young boys and girls, they need to hear this because they haven't gone here.
It's true. It's true. And the generation we're in now, especially with young people, they've given us so much things to chase, so many distractions. So it's hard for young people to kind of come and actually listen to this because our minds are so occupied with other things, whether it's TikTok and these kind of nonsense.
That's the biggest.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
I remember when I was at school, they talk about Middle East. I asked my teacher, where is Middle East? Because I didn't see it on the, there's no continent in Middle East. So he said, I said, so tell me, which island country? He said, Jerusalem. I said, no. He said, no, don't tell me about there. I'm telling you, it's in Africa. And that is where, all of a sudden, you got Middle East. Where is it? Which continent you come under?
That's right.
I have to teach my children that. And my grandchildren that. So, a lot of people don't know that. It's true. And I said to them, Jesus is an African. And they said, oh, no. That's the part who said that. Yes.
Sorry? Say it again?
You think segregation was a good thing? Well, obviously, we're dealing with the big portion, they get integrated in different today. I guess during segregation, I don't know. So I'm just saying that from your knowledge, from what you do, from the people that pass down information from you, maybe the way how I'm talking to you, but we don't really know really and truly. So that's the saddest thing, really.
Because when you think about
The segregation thing, whenever there was segregation, there was more hate, I should say.
very much, yeah.
That's when they try to kill us off and burn our houses down. So ultimately, I think this is unfortunately the best alternative. Because now we have a voice and we can do something about it.
Let's see what God says about division and separation.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations.
So the Most High is actually the author of division. He's the one that divided the nation. Read that.
Their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So the Lord's actually the one who separated us. The Lord is let's get that in Sirach 17 verse 17.
Sirach 17 verse 17.
Yep.
In the divisions of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler of every people over every people.
So every nation has their own ruler, whether they like it or not. White people is gold, killing, bloodshed. That's their God. We have our God. Asians will have their Buddhas and their Sikhs and whatever. So every nation of people have their own God, right? But the Lord,
But Israel is the Lord's portion.
But what?
Israel is the Lord's portion.
Our God is the one who created the heavens and earth. Do you know what I'm saying? So the Lord, his purpose actually is for division.
Let's look at Proverbs chapter 11 verse 21, and it reads, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered.
So although you're seeing now, we're walking together, you probably see, do you know what I mean? Like, I've probably seen today at least 3 like mixed relationships or mixed, like, do you know what I mean? So although we're seeing that, remember, there's a remembrance that comes from the fact that they are still blessed. They are going to be punished for what they've done. Because, as it says, God, whatever a man soweth, he reaps. God, when he says something, he's never going to go back on his word. So if they've been given a punishment, or they've been given something, it's going to happen.
Let's look at Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 14. And it shall be as the chased roe And as a sheep that no man taketh up, as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
So when this place hits the fan, when everything is going, when God's going to come down, that's when you're going to start seeing people going back into their own division. They're going to start, because if you realize, like, when things are just going wrong in general, people or humans naturally tend to just go to whoever is like with them, or go to their own people. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like, if there's something happening, as people, you just see that separation naturally form, and that's because usually now what you see now is that this mix and match is not natural, it's unnatural, it's very unnatural. But the natural order of everything is that division. But with that division also, especially in the kingdom, that division is going to cause, or it's going to bring order. Let's go Isaiah 14.
That's happening in real time with the whole war, but everything has to be more of a financial thing. So this is why I'm saying for us lot, we need to prepare ourselves financially, because there is going to be a financial war when Russia and then America, right, the whole dollar changes into some other currency, and then we're going to have to pick a side. So that's just what it is.
That's the thing though.
It's happening in real time now.
You're right, I agree with you 100%. You shouldn't neglect trying to prepare financially. But I think the most important thing to prepare is your spirit. The most important thing to prepare is seeking the kingdom. Because
Matthew chapter 6, verse 30.
When we talk about what they call
that's right. That's very, very right. Right. And quickly, just before we get to your point, let me show you. Go to Revelation 3 and verse 9.
No, don't leave me hanging, please.
I'm trying to get the smudge on it.
Did you get a hit?
And the thing is, those people, they have something.
Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews. Say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
That's what's going to happen to them. So those that are lying and saying that they're Jews, don't let them do what they do, because there's a divine punishment coming.
Right.
Now, with what you were saying about preparing spiritually, read that.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 33.
Yeah.
But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
So when we're serving God with righteousness and we're actually seeking the kingdom, regardless of what situation we may be put in when he comes down, the fact that we're actually seeking him, everything else is going to be added onto us. If it's a thing where at that time you have a financial burden, or when the time comes you may have a physical burden, or whatever it will be, family, whatever it is, if you're seeking that kingdom, if you're seeking the kingdom and you're actually worshiping God in spirit and in truth, then you wouldn't have anything to worry about.
I'm gonna say one thing.
Go ahead.
As he's talking, I had a vision. This is crazy. See the whole Captain America Wakanda thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, right? It's gonna be something like similar to that. We're gonna have soldiers, spiritual warriors, right, and some beings, right? That's gonna come in this realm, and we're gonna fight against them. This is a joke. That's what I just got in my head.
This is the book of Revelation chapter 19 and verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon the white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God.
So everything you just said is going to happen.
Of course.
The Christ is going to come down. He's not coming down to give hugs and kisses and teddy bears to children.
Of course.
He's coming, as it said, to raise an army. So to be part of the army, there's things we have to keep the command, we have to love, we have to serve him, so that we can be part of that army. So that when he comes down, he's going to actually read that, to seek his vengeance upon people.
Ezekiel 25, verse 14.
Yeah.
And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel.
So he's going to use us to relay his vengeance. We're going to be his battle axe. We're going to be his swords. We're going to be the ones that are going to execute vengeance upon this nation.
And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance. Thus saith the Lord God.
So we're going to be the ones to enact God's vengeance. We're going to be part of the army to enact God's vengeance. So the vision you just had, that came from the Lord, man, because it's very
Of
true.
course.
But you know, as you were saying this, especially when it comes to the kingdom, there's an order that we have to remember. So that gets Isaiah 14 and verse 1.
And this is one thing I'm trying to say. All of these cultures, right, and all their teachings originate back from us anyway. So this is the last thing that I'm saying. When it comes to the whole religion thing, it still comes from us. It's our teachings, whether it be Muslim, this, that, Buddhist, don't matter. At the end of the day, it's still spiritual.
What's this, yeah? Jeremiah 51.
That's all I gotta say.
There's nothing. Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them.
So the portion that we've been given, everything we've been given, the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the servant, go to Romans 9 and verse. The things that God has given us hasn't been given to everyone else. So naturally, there's going to form a type of jealousy. There's going to form a type of envy. Because when you have something, even as kids, when you know that kid has got that toy you wanted, your mum, you want to get that toy. You're going to ask my mum, Freddie in school had that toy and I want to get it, right? And that's the same thing that they've done. They saw the things that we were given and they wanted to keep reading.
Well, again, it's like having black skin.
Hey, literally.
For he is the former of all things. And Israel is the rod of his inheritance.
So, because we were the former of all things, we are the original of all things. Even when it comes down to style, even when it comes down to swag, even if it comes down to music, every little thing it comes down to, we were the original, we were the former of all those things. So what's gonna happen then? People are gonna want to take, and that even leaked.
And inventions as well.
Exactly, and that even leaked into religion. That's what even leaked into Islam. Like Islam is literally a copy, a very failed copy and paste version of the Bible.
That's right. Let's just say, hold on. Let's just say the eastern part of that part there is a copy, like the Bible with Rome and all of that, right? With us. That's what I'm just trying to say. I'm not saying I'm Muslim, but everything is connected.
Okay.
Right? It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Do you know why it's connected? Because as I read earlier, when there's a form or originate of all things, it will sound connected because it sounds similar. Don't confuse the fact that it's connected with the fact that maybe there's truths in all of those things. Don't confuse that. But what you need to remember with that is that there's a one thing that was formed and there's a one thing that was a fact and that was given. But because of that and with that
Jealousy.
people came and tried to take little bits. It's not a thing where it was like it was all kind of one thing and there's truths in all of it. You know, I've heard that many times, but that's wrong. There was an original thing that people came to try and take little bits because it sounded nice, the parts that they like. Even when it came to like divination and demonic things and all that kind of stuff. the fact that we have altars, that God told us to create altars and to go to these altars and make sacrifices. Even when people are doing like juju and stuff like that, they have altars. They'll create altars, they'll make sacrifices, they'll say go and get a lizard with 3 tongues.
That's not big enough sacrifice.
and find me a rope that has a red rope and a leg of a hamster. And come and make a sacrifice or an offering. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, we started that. We were making offerings to the Lord in the temples. We were making sacrifices of the Lord to the temple. Exactly. And what they did is even what they did, they said till this day they did it. And what they're doing in that is because they know they haven't been given a God, they create their own. Right. They create their own God because they know they weren't given one. So
I'll tell you why.
But
because they're preparing for the day when the day comes, they have their spiritual needs to protect themselves.
hey, and the thing is, they're gonna call out, and when that day comes, they're gonna try to call out to the demons, and they're not gonna hear a single word. They're not gonna hear a single. Nothing's gonna come from them calling out to the demons. When that day comes, people are gonna call out to Allah. Allah's gonna be silent. There's no sound. That's what I'm saying. People are gonna be calling out to this guy as well. He's gonna be calling to, and they're not gonna hear a single word. You know what I mean? So.
That's right.
Wow, Jesus.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 115, verse 2. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God? But our God is in the heavens, he hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Their idols are silver and gold, and their works of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat.
It's literally plain as day. They have their own gods, but when it all comes down to it, their gods are futile. There's no power in it. Because some people get Isaiah 45 verse 18.
Yeah, but they know this though, and they also know right now, currently, we can't. I don't like to even say these words, right? Because it's a spell, isn't it? This is not our language. Latin, look it up, these are spell cards, right? But for sure, I don't like the fact that it's a problem. They know, right? This is not our rules. They create the rules, isn't it? And we have to follow it. So anytime we feel like really right down the moon, you're not allowed to even raise your hand.
And what they're doing is, in doing that, they're just trying to limit us and put us in a box. And they want us to be so subservient to